In this video I am breaking one of the rules of wide angle photography, and I hope you enjoy my rule breaking. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. So in this video I am breaking one of the fundamental rules that you're always told about wide angle photography, and that is that you need to have a strong foreground element and be close to it for a wide angle shot to work effectively. And I'm not doing that because I think sometimes the rules just have to be broken. But before all of that, I've been doing a bit of exploring, so let's go back and have a look at that, shall we? So today is the 15th of June and we've gone into phase 3 of de-escalation now, and the great news for me is that means all the time slots have gone. I can go out when it suits me. It's 10 to 7, sunset tonight's at about 9:30. I'm at Tibi reservoir. Now I'm going to try to do a different view of this place than I've ever done before. Normally when I come here I go down this trail behind me here, takes me down near to the water. A couple of times I've been back up the hill and across to try and get views down onto the reservoir, but today I'm going to go the other way. I'm actually going to go down this road here. I can't drive down it because there's a gate across, so you're not allowed to drive down there. It's a walk down, but I'm hoping to get down to the old dam, or certainly around there, to see if I can just get a different view on this place. And obviously we'll do a bit of exploring along the way. I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you do, and you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe before you go. Okay, so I'm walking down this roadway now. It's a paved road, but you're just not allowed to drive down it, unfortunately. It's downhill all the way, which of course is nice on the way down. That means I've got a steep climb up on the way back. Oh well, can't have it always, I suppose. I want to go down, right down to the bottom of the where the dam is, if I can, because I think the dam's supposed to be quite interesting here. I have actually been here once down to the dam before, a long time ago, and there is a little waterfall on there sometimes. Nothing like Elche Dam, but it might be quite nice, I don't know. The dam itself is one of the oldest dams in Europe, if not the oldest dam in Europe. And I think there's also an old ermita, which is like a kind of small secluded church down there. I don't know if it's actually ever used for anything, but it might even be a ruin, I don't know. But that's why I want to go down and have a look. But I also want to look, for as I said, for this different view of the reservoir and some of the sort of really quite nice rocky, I don't know if they classify as mountains or parts of mountains, whatever around them, rocky peaks around them anyway. So fingers crossed we'll find something. Okay, I'm part way down now, and I'm hoping that later I'm going to climb up this bit here. I remember this spot. Looks like it might be a fairly steep and rocky climb up, but I'm hoping it will give me a view out over the top of the dam and to that big kind of rocky peak that you can see up there, which should be just on one side of the dam. I don't know. We'll have to go and have a look in a little while, but first I'm going to carry on down this way and see what's down there. Okay, I've come all the way down now, so I'm down below the level of the dam. I must admit I'm wondering if I've done the smart thing coming down here, because it's a steep hill down and I've got to go back up it again in a minute to try to get to where I'm thinking of doing my shot from. I've got no idea whether it's going to work or not. So I'm going to have a quick explore around down here, but I don't think there's any images that I want to shoot down here. And then I'm going to start the long trudge back up. May not have been a smart move. Okay, I'm down at the bottom and I can see the dam over there behind me, but I don't think there's any images to be had down here. I'm guessing this building here must be the meter. I don't know, it's the only thing I can see. So I think what I'm going to do is take a couple of minutes rest. It's 25 to 8 now and I've got a long climb back up. I'm going to take a few minutes rest, climb back up, and then see if that scene works. If it doesn't, I might have left it too late to do anything. So I don't know, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that scene. Oh, I tell you what, that's a steep climb and I'm only about halfway up. I am so out of condition after 3 months of lockdown, it's unreal. And it's hot today as well. Blue skies. At least the sun's getting lower now, but hopefully it's not going to get too low too quick, otherwise I'm going to miss the light by the time I get to where I want to shoot. By the way, if you think I'm going to be filming myself climbing up this hill and then having to come back down to pick the camera up and then go back up again, ain't going to happen, guys. Whew, okay, I've climbed up the road now. Now I've got to go up over the top of this rocky bit here. Takes me right up over the top, I think, and down, looking down on the dam, hopefully with that big peak the other side, and hopefully I can get a view of the dam and some water and the peak and make a composition from it. Just waited around here for a few seconds to let this family move on and get my breath back before I start this clamber. I am going to have to get fitter. It's always going to be the problem in the summer though. My fitness level always drops in the summer because it's too hot to go out hiking, and that's my main exercise. And of course this year with the lockdown I've missed out on a lot of the time that I would have been exercising. So basically all of March, April and May, when I would normally have been doing quite a bit of hiking, I couldn't do any. And now it's getting really warm. Even at this, you know, it's 5 to 8 now. Anyway, I'm going to have to get a move on, otherwise I will miss the light on the scene. Tripod in a bit of an awkward position because it's kind of halfway down a rocky slope, and that means that, as you can see, I'm struggling to get the height. Now what I've got to be careful of is in the foreground here there's some bushes, and I don't want those coming into the bottom of the scene because they'll be distracting. So what I've done is I've actually raised the centre column. Not something I do often, but it's not windy. I'm shooting wide angle. The dam kind of curves in on the bottom third. The big peak is on the right hand side, and then we've got slopes going away, and they've got kind of patches of light and shadow on, and we've got water down on the left hand side. Kind of toying with the idea of throwing in maybe a 10 stop filter and doing a long exposure on this. So I'm just hanging around and waiting now. The only reason that I'm choosing to stick the 10 stop filter in and shoot long exposures is just because the water doesn't look very nice. It's 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 quite ripply. There's a little bit of a breeze going, not much, but just enough to make it look a bit noisy, if you like. And I think when the water's like that, I think flattening it out can be a way of just making it less of a distraction in the scene, because although the water is nice to have there as an additional point in there, it's creating a little bit of reflection as well. The image is really about the light on that peak and on the trees on that peak and on the rugged sort of shapes in the rocks and on that curve of the dam going out. Otherwise, you know, with a blue sky there'd be no point in doing a long exposure, but just because of the water I think it's worth doing it. Of course I could be proved wrong, has been known occasionally. So I said that in this video I was going to be breaking the rules of wide angle photography, because one of the, if you like, the rules is that if you're shooting wide angle, what you really need to be doing is concentrating on a strong foreground element to create depth in the scene. Wide angle lenses normally aren't just to fit a big scene in. And in many cases, if you want to fit a big scene in, it's sometimes better to go for a longer focal length and do a pano. But in this particular case, I don't have an interesting foreground element to use. I mean, there's these bushes here, but they don't make for a nice foreground element. And I'm a big believer that no foreground element is better than the wrong foreground element, because I think the wrong foreground element can ruin an image. And I do want to fit the whole scene in, but even if I went, you know, for 50mm in a pano, it would be really difficult to squeeze it in unless I did, you know, kind of, I don't know, maybe 6 shots for the top and 6 shots for the bottom. And doing long exposures, that's going to start to get a bit of a pain. You know, that's going to take me, what, 12 minutes minimum? 12 minutes plus adjustment time, so it's going to take me a quarter of an hour or so to do that, and I just don't think the scene warrants it. And I think it actually looks quite nice just as it is, with a nice wide expanse on close enough to my main elements that, you know, the wide angle effect isn't making them look, you know, tiny and in the distance. So yeah, that's why I'm breaking that rule. It is, generally speaking, a good rule of thumb to follow, that if you're shooting wide angle, it's always a good idea to get something nice in the foreground and get pretty close into it, so you create that sense of depth in the frame. And wide angle shots are often more about the foreground than they are about what's in the background, but in this case it's not. Okay, a 1 minute exposure, f11, ISO 64 with a 10 stop ND filter on. So that cloud is sitting right over the top of that peak now. And what I've done is quickly flipped over to a vertical orientation, taken the 10 stop ND filter out because it's not going to help with that cloud, it's moving too quickly. I've angled up a bit. This will probably get cropped 8x10 if it works at all. F11, 1/25 of a second. And again, I'm being careful not to have all of these sort of this shrub and that in the foreground in the bottom of the frame. So we've got the dam coming out, the peak, and then the clouds. So I'm back out on the road, and I almost forgot to record the outro again. My memory is oh, blimey. Almost stepped on a snake. Not very big, I don't know. 1.5 foot long, something like that. It's great, I've not seen a snake here before. First time, fantastic. On that note, I'll just say I almost forgot to record the outro to the video. So I hung around on that little chunk of rock until the light had gone off the ridge, and then it was all over. Scrambled back down, and now I'm working my way back up this road, back to the car. It's now just come up on 9:15, and I've still got about half a mile, I think, to walk and then drive home. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've enjoyed the images. I'm hoping I got 2 images, maybe one long exposure landscape and one portrait, maybe. I don't know for sure, but you'll have already seen. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it on social media. If you're new here and you've enjoyed this, please consider hitting subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch, so thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.